This is Laricy Live, and I'm your host, Matt Laricy, giving you unfiltered access to the world of real estate. We cover market trends, news, and give you the honest answers that will keep you ahead of the real estate game. So, there is a lot going on as we enter 2022, and one of the big things people want to hear about is what's going to be happening with buying. What's buying going to be like in 2022? So this is the buyer's guide to the beginning of 2022. And we're going to read off some questions of what people have asked us, what we think people are going to want to know, etc. So what will inventory look like for buyers in 2022? I think inventory is going to be low. We entered this year with much lower inventory than we did last year. We have less than half the inventory in almost all parts of the market compared to year 2021 when we entered it. So I think inventory is only going to be lower and lower. The markets we work, which are all the downtown markets, including like Lakeview, Lincoln Park, North Center, things like that. Those we've been a little bit more of a buyer's market for half the market and a little bit more of a seller's market for the other half, but the other half wasn't like an out-of-control seller's market. It was just a seller's market, not like the other parts of the country. So I think inventory levels are going to drop, and for the first time, we're going to start seeing sellers have a little bit more power. What will move-in ready be priced like in 2022? Well, I think the question is mostly saying like, will properties priced or that show better be priced higher? And the answer is going to be yeah. I mean, if it's shows better, you're going to ask more money for it, and it's going to sell for more money. What should buyers prepare for next year? Multiple bids. I think you should be ready for the first 2 quarters to be absolutely crazy. There's a lot of buyers that didn't exist in the last couple of years that are re-emerging into the marketplace, and that's going to make the market be absolutely crazy. The first 2 quarters are going to be nuts. When will be the best time to buy? Pretty much any time from August till December. From January till July, the market's going to be very, very hot for sellers. Now, at the same time, you're going to be getting the best quality inventory in those first 6 to 7 months. So although it won't be the best quote-unquote time to buy, you are going to have the best inventory. But at the same time, guys, interest rates are only going to keep going up and prices are only going to keep going up. So if you want to buy, it's hard to just time when you feel like you have more power because, yeah, maybe in December of 2022, you have more power to buy, but there's nothing on the market and rates are higher and prices are higher. So, the reality is just be prepared. First 2 quarters are going to suck for you. You're going to lose out on a lot of properties, but you're going to have the best quality properties and more shit's going to keep coming on the market like an endless cycle. What will be... Will you be able to get a discount in places that you work? Yeah, not a substantial discount, but there will be discounts to be had. You'll be able to get a better price, that's for sure. And you'll have to do the work yourself, but overall, you're definitely going to be able to get a better price. Will 2022 be competitive? Yeah, absolutely. Specifically, like high rises have been dead. I think we're actually going to start seeing things start to move. That's the best part is I think we're going to start seeing some action. Will you pay a premium in Q1 versus Q2? Yeah. Not a huge premium, but I think there's going to be a lot less inventory Q1 compared to Q2. The average consumer thinks the best time to list is April and May. So that January, February, March is still kind of low in inventory. And when we factor in the fact that it's going to be lower in inventory, and Chicago is one of the most rent-heavy cities in the country, and most people's leases come due end of March, April, May, first part of June, people come back from the holiday, they want to buy, and then there's nothing on the market. So, sometimes you tend to get a little bit of a better price in Q1 for sellers, and it's a little bit worse for buyers sometimes. How much time should buyers give themselves a look? 21 days. Within 21 days, you should be able to identify a property in the first 2 quarters. I mean, the same stuff's going to keep coming on the market. Now, I'm not saying that like you have to buy in 21 days. I'm saying on average, our clients find places within 21 days. What will rates look like next year? I think they're going to go up. I think rates are going to bump up a little bit. Inflation's out there, guys. It's real. We're at an all-time high almost pretty much for inflation. As inflation rises, rates are going to rise. Will inflation impact the real estate market? Yeah. As rates go up, affordability goes down. So that's going to hurt the market a little bit. But to be honest with you, in the markets we work, I really don't think the rate's going to really play that big of a factor. How will crime impact the buyer's market in Chicago? Crime's definitely having an impact. It's having an impact in the sense of the fact that like people who, want to buy in the heart of the city, like Gold Coast River North, nervous because of, all the break-ins and looting. And in Wicker Park, Bucktown, Lincoln Park, like the carjackings are affecting it. But overall, as the crime keeps getting kind of worked on, I think it'll be okay. If crime gets worse, yeah, I think it'll have a bigger impact. But I feel like enough people are pissed off about this and want to fight back about it. And I do think we kind of reached a boiling point on it, and the crime's going to get better, which means the market's going to keep getting better. Are certain neighborhoods going to be super hot next year? Yeah. The single-family home game in Wicker Park, Bucktown, Lincoln Park, and Lakeview is going to be out of control. So if you got a single-family home in those areas, it's going to be like gangbusters. I think the smaller 2 to 4 unit buildings with a lot of outdoor space in those same areas too is going to be super hot. Those are going to be the most competitive markets next year. Oh, and Westtown as well. Will single-family homes still be super popular in 2022? Yeah. I mean, listen, COVID's not done yet. You know, we still have these new variants out there. People are still getting sick. And, you know, people are going to want more space. So single-family homes offer the most space, so that's going to be the hottest market. Do you need an agent to buy in 2022? I think it would be foolish not to have an agent, okay? I mean, it's free to use the services. I mean, technically, yeah, of course, the sellers pay out commissions to the buyer's agents, but it's worth your weight in gold. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know the buildings, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's a relatively drop in the bucket of price that somebody's going to make sure you make a really good decision. I'm not saying that every agent out there is actually worth their money. And, you know, you may have had an experience and you said, hey, agents suck, and the person I used was terrible. I mean, that's very, listen, it's possible. I mean, there's a lot of agents that are terrible, but I think there's also a lot of agents that are unbelievable and will make your life easier, will get you a better price, and you'll really see a lot of value in it. You know, the best thing you could do is interview some people and go with somebody that has a personality that you mesh with and thinks is going to do the best job for you. What can we expect for the rental market next year? I think it's going to be hot. I think rent's only going to keep going up. Guess what? Taxes are going up, so rent's going to go up. Rents are at a 5% high as of today, and I fully expect them to go even higher next year. If you're a renter, what kind of timeline should you follow to become a first-time buyer? You're going to be probably following the rental cycle, which is the end of March, April, May, first part of June, so that means that you're going to be buying pretty much from January to April. What major markets do you expect to see as a buyer next year? I don't know what that means, but I can tell you that there's going to be all aspects of the downtown market are going to be hot, with the smaller buildings being hotter than the bigger buildings. But I will tell you that I think the big buildings are going to make a comeback. See, there's 4 types of buyers that haven't existed for almost 24 months, okay? The first time a buyer is the out-of-state buyer. So people who are relocating for work, or they live in Indianapolis and they want a place downtown Chicago. That market's starting to come back. Second type of buyer is the empty nester. People are cashing out in the suburbs. They're like, hey, I'm selling my place in Winnetka. I want to buy a place downtown and then get a place in Florida. The empty nester market's coming back. The third type of buyer coming back, which we keep talking about, it's not kind of like crazy yet, but I think, you know, it's coming, is the international market. People are richer than God. They have more money than they know what to do with. Inflation is at an all-time high. It's a legal way to get your money to America. And, you know, that market's going to start roaring back. And the fourth type of buyer, which is a huge segment of the market that didn't exist really last year in the downtown markets, is the first-time buyer, okay? As we talked about in 2020, a lot of part of 2021, rents were 20% lower than history. Today, they're 5% higher than history. That's a 25% swing, and a lot of those people are going to, you know, they look at their rents and like, hey, it's cheaper now with rates where they're at to buy than it is to rent, so they're looking to buy. Now, I think that's why the heart of the city, like the high rises and stuff like that, you know, it's been soft because of the crime, the COVID, and, you know, rents being down. And with, you know, 2 to 3 of those pretty much being, well, rents being much better now, and, you know, coronavirus, people have a better understanding of it with it, and, like, you know, crime being what it is, I think people are going to start pouring into the first-time buyer market. And that's why I think the markets, when we're talking about what type of buyers going to be out there, I think that's why it's going to be so strong next year. What's the best way to choose a buyer's agent in 2022? Listen, I think you need to make sure that somebody's going to offer you value. You got to make sure the person actually understands the process. You have to make sure that they can do a good job negotiating with you. How much easier are they going to make the job for you? I always tell people, like, your job is just give me the okay to buy, and we do everything else for you. You literally have to do nothing. Everything is taken care of from you from start to finish. Find somebody that brings you value, interview some people, and go with somebody who you feel is going to be the best job for you. Are there any benefits to buying with Redfin? I mean, listen, Redfin gives you cash back. You know, there's a couple bucks you could save on that end, but at the end of the day, if you worked with somebody else, will this save you more money? I'm not here to bash anybody or any company, so, like, I feel like this question is trying to get me to go that route. All I can tell you guys is that there's many different colors of cars out there: red cars, blue cars, black cars, and yellow cars. Everybody's got a different opinion of what they feel is the best fit for them. Figure out what's the best fit for you and go with it. Will 2022 be more competitive than 2021? 1,000%. I've said this 100 times. I'll say it again. 2022 is going to be the year of the condo. And, 3/4 of the markets in the downtown markets are condos. And I think that market's only going to get hotter. It's been soft or softer than it should be. And that market's about to go gangbusters. Which types of properties and locations will be the hardest to buy? Listen, if you're looking for a single family home, as I said, that's going to be the hottest. And it's going to have the lowest amount of inventory. So that's where you're going to face the most competition. Second most is going to be a bigger unit with big outdoor space. Third most is going to be a small building. And the fourth most is going to be a high rise. That's how it's going to go. And from there is going to be from the easiest to the hardest. Do you expect a lot of multiple bid scenarios? 1,000% I expect a lot of multiple bids. We're going to see, specifically in the first 2 quarters, you're going to see I bet you're going to see 25 to 30% of properties be multiple bids. It's going to probably be double what we saw last year. Are you seeing a lot of traffic coming back in the city? Yes, all because of the 4 types of buyers that didn't exist last year that exist this year. And that's why we're seeing the city kind of start to rejuvenate. And, more people are walking around again. People are feeling more comfortable being in city and being by other people. We've been around COVID now for over 2 years. People kind of get a gist of what this is. What types of buyers will be most prominent in 2022? First-time buyers. I think first-time buyers are going to make a raging comeback. I'm telling you, in the markets I work, specifically like in the heart of the downtown market, the first-time buyer was literally non-existent. I can't even tell you, we work with a lot of first-time buyers, but nowhere near the years before that we've seen. And I think that market's going to come raging back, and that's going to be the number 1 buyer for 2022. What do you need to have to be prepared so you're ready to start looking at properties? Talk to a good agent, make sure they give you a good game plan, but most importantly, get your finances in order. Talk to a lender. Make sure you team up with a lender to have a pre-approval letter, okay? We're visual learners these days. You want to sit there and talk to me about how stressful the buying process is? Well, if you kind of get everything broken down for you and you feel more comfortable with the process, and then you have all the numbers in front of your face and you feel more comfortable once you get the numbers, then the whole process can be less stressful. And let me tell you something, guys. If you're in a multiple bid situation and you have a letter kind of pre-written, ready to go, you got all your steps in place to make an offer, you have your pre-approval letter, that means you could get an offer in within 10 minutes. So you're more prepared. So the main thing you do is get your finances in order ASAP. Should your agent show you all properties, or should you go to open houses on your own first? I think you should do a hybrid. You may say, hey, I may want to check out, this location. Here's 10 properties. And I may say, listen, we've been mostly focused in Lincoln Park, and now you're talking West Town. Why don't you go check out a couple open houses and see if you like the area first? Grab a cup of coffee over there. And if you like it, then let's start checking out a ton of them. I think open houses are a good way to kind of test out the neighborhood and see if you like it. So that's where it is. But when you're serious about buying, then look at as many properties as you want to see. What are the best areas for public transportation if you work downtown? Any place that's close to the train line. There's, the red line, purple line, brown line, whatever line you want to use. Just, if you're close to it, any area can do. Will the Loop have higher demand next year? Yeah. So this year, we should say. Yeah. So, listen, the Loop was terrible last year. We entered the year with over 24 months of inventory. We're having around 8 to 9-ish. The stats aren't out yet today. But, it's definitely more than half less, and it can't get any worse than it did. So, it's going to have a better year. Now, it's not going to be a seller's market. So if people are watching this oh, Matt said the Loop's going to be a seller's market. No, it's just not going to be as big of a buyer's market as it was. It'll still be a buyer's market. It's just not going to be a hardcore buyer's market. Are private showings better than open houses? Of course. Of course, you can have your time at this. You not have 15 people hovering around you. And let me tell you, people keep always asking about open houses. If you're a buyer, don't give a shit about an open house. I've personally never sold a property in my career after the first week at an open house. So if you walk in an open house and an agent's oh, we had a great turnout in an open house, guess what? 99% of people who go to open houses are tire kickers or just getting started. What are major red flags to look at when browsing properties? Construction quality, noise factors, leaks, proximity of location for where you need to be and what you like to do. There's 1,000 different things. What do most buyers ask for on their property's wish list? Honestly, before, it used to be close to public transportation. That's kind of died off. I actually think public transportation is coming back and walkability is going to come back. Those are 2 things that haven't been mentioned in almost 2 years. But I think the whole reason to live in the city is that you want to be able to walk to restaurants, bars, shopping, public transportation, things of that nature. And I think walkability and public transportation are going to be 2 of the top things on people's wish list. And then you know what? On a side note, one that always surprised me is natural light. A lot of people like natural light. It's always in the top 3 for everybody. Now, me, full disclosure, guys, I could give a shit about natural light. Why do I not give a shit about natural light? I get up before the sun comes up, and I go to bed after the sun goes down, and I'm never home whenever the sun's there. So to me, I could give a crap if I'm facing a brick wall because I don't really have anything to look at it. Well, let me backtrack this. I'm not gonna lie. I would never face a brick wall personally, but I don't really care about natural light. But it is one of the top 3 for most people, which is a surprise to me. Let's see here. What do I need to know about Chicago taxes as a first-time homebuyer? Honestly, we're going to do a whole tax podcast with a tax professional this year. So we'll kind of table it. The main thing to know about is that taxes are paid in arrears this year, meaning that we pay taxes. We pay last year's taxes this year, and every 3 years they get reassessed. Okay, and 2022 is a reassessment year, so taxes are going way up. How they calculate taxes is something that nobody knows. And if you're watching this, you're like, oh man, I know exactly how they calculate taxes. You don't, because guess what? The tax assessor doesn't even know how they calculate taxes. They essentially take the square footage they have on record, and square footage isn't a corrected like algorithm how they use in Chicago. They take the age of the building, they take the last sale, they take comps in the area, they put into what they call an equalizer, which is something behind the Wizard of Oz, curtain, and that spits out a number, and that's your taxes. So, it would be great if we were like all civilized cities in the country where we had a set guideline, like, hey, it's 2% of the purchase price. That'd be super easy, but there isn't. You can have 2 units, one floor apart that are the same exact footprint, same exact size, so for the same exact price, and have totally different taxes. What sense does that make, guys? I have no idea. So it's called Crook County for a reason. Everything's half-assed and backwards here. Can taxes on a property go up after you purchase? Yeah, of course. Taxes, listen, it's Chicago, guys. The city's broke, okay? The city is absolutely broke. So the taxes are always only going to go up. I've said this in my last podcast. I'll say this again. You want to solve the tax problem, the finance problem in Chicago? Take Loyola, Northwestern, Booth, University of Chicago. I don't know. Grab the 10 smartest college and college graduate kids, stick them in a room, offer them free education, okay, and a free scholarship to a master's degree. Offer them the best job in the city, and tell those 10 people, feed them like 1 square meal a day to figure out this math problem. Because at the end of the day, guys, it's just a simple math problem. Stick 10 people in there, motivate the shit out of them. Who the hell knows what can happen from that? Okay. Our home office spaces and outdoor spaces still top priorities. I don't know if it's top priority, but it's still a big priority. A lot of people still think they're going to be working from home forever. I personally disagree on that statement, but they are still higher up on the list of priorities. Are full amenity buildings more expensive? No, not always. It's not always the case. I think that's a misconception. A lot of times if it's a huge building, the amenities don't really cost anything because there's so many units to help bear the cost. If there's 14 units and you have full amenities, then yeah, it's going to be more expensive. Is it better to try and buy during busy season when there's more inventory, or wait to get a better deal at the second half of the year? Honestly, guys, don't time it. Just buy it when you feel it. If you feel comfortable, buy then. I like the busiest season because I get the best inventory. But at the end of the day, like, I have so many people are like, well, I may as well wait till X. Well, you don't know what X is going to bring. Just do it. Don't dip your toe in the water. Just jump in. Okay. The price difference when we're talking in Chicago property, we're talking maybe 10 tops $20,000 difference. Do you care about spending an extra $20,000 to get a property you love, or spend $20,000 less and get a property that you're like, okay. So like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. How can buyers access off-market properties? Work with an agent. I mean, a lot of stuff's going to sell in the pockets during the busy season. So like access to Zenlist, Top Agent Network, the broker's bandwidth and kind of network. A lot of stuff's going to sell out in the pockets in the first couple months. Again, I think it's literally the dumbest thing in the world to put a property in the pockets if you have a pretty much run-of-the-mill property. But a lot of people are going to do it, okay? It saves you money, and it saves that person time of showings. So, you're going to see a lot of stuff sell there. What's the best way to compete in a multiple bid situation? As I said earlier, be prepared. Mentally be prepared. That's number 1. Numero uno. Be mentally prepared to make a bid and get it done with. Don't sit there and sidestep this later on and be like, well, I wish I would have done it. Now, get ready to make an offer. Number 2, make sure that you have your finances in order and you feel comfortable with the money you're about to spend. And number 3, make sure you know the process of what types of things you need to do to win a multiple bid. We have a whole multiple bid podcast. Watch it, go on the YouTube page, click on it. I give every strategy what to do, but those are the 3 main things without taking a 20-minute tangent of what to do to win a multiple bid. Are there secret properties off-market buyers can't access on their own? I mean, that's kind of going with the pocket listings. There is a lot of stuff sold through networks. Work with a big agent that knows what they're doing. And let me tell you something, pocket listings are super easy to find, okay? It's not that difficult to find a pocket listing. We sell a shit ton of stuff off market. Again, think it's stupid, but we do a ton of it. Top mistake buyers make. Number one, they don't think about getting approved. And then they're looking at $500,000 properties, and then they find out they can only afford $400,000. Let me tell you something. You can't go down after you've been looking up. So that's the number one mistake. The number two mistake is you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You're like, yeah, I want the loop. River North, Treeville, Gold Coast is cool. Lincoln Park and Lakeview is not bad. I have some friends in Wicker Park, Bucktown. Oh, West sounds good. Have you heard of Logan Square? Let's throw West Loop in there. Oh, and the South Loop as well. Okay? When you're throwing a dart at the dartboard, you'll never find something because you're always going to be 2 steps behind. The day you're in Wicker Park, that day the place in Lincoln Park came on the market, and that next day you go to Lincoln Park and that place sold. And then you're in Lincoln Park and the place in Wicker Park came on the market, and then that place sold. You need to buy for location. Go for location first, building second, unit third. Location, building, unit. Remember, guys, figure out where you want to live. The difference between your friend that took 6 months and your friend that took 2 weeks is the person knew where they want to live. And the third most important thing that buyers completely mess up on all the time is that they want $1 million property for $500,000. Understand your budget. It directly correlates with number one. One, get your finances in order. Understand what you can afford. Number two, know where you want to live. 3, accept what your price point gets you. You follow those 3 things, it will be super duper easy to find a place to buy in 2022. That's it, folks. Those are some good tips to kind of get a leg up on the buying process for 2022. Thank you so much for listening. Click the bell, subscribe. You'll be the first to be notified of these. Thanks for listening to Laricy Live.